This lady, Laurene or Lauren, but I think it's Laurene Powell Jobs, she was called by Inside Philanthropy the world's least transparent mega giver. This is not a right-wing group. This is a group that named the same year George Soros the world's greatest mega giver. So they're a pro-Soros group. So they still think that she's not above board in what she does. So Steve Jobs, of course, was a genius and a true American success story, inventing Apple. And then he got kicked out of his own company, and during the interim, he invented Pixar, the movie studio, which at least up until recently did some of the best movies around. I haven't seen any of the recent ones. I'm told they're more woke. Is that true now? Do people know? Okay. But then he came back to Apple because they weren't doing well without him, and then it went to the moon. So he passed away of cancer in his 50s, and his wife inherited all of his money. And when she inherited it, she decided that she was going to dedicate it to where a lot of people who have immense amounts of unearned wealth do. She dedicated it to left-wing causes. And what she started with this thing called the Emerson Collective, which is it's run basically as her public trust. But it's this shadowy thing where she's designed it so that she has it can be part philanthropy and part investing, which means if something's making money, she calls it investing. If something loses money, then all of a sudden it's philanthropy. So she owns The Atlantic through this. The Atlantic, you guys know The Atlantic, the glossy, started by Ralph Waldo Emerson, over 100 years old. Prestigious people used to write there, maybe they still do. I admit I've been reading it less. A truly horrible publication. They actually have advocated, and this will connect a little bit to my speech, on behalf of the Chinese model of censorship of the internet for the United States. They've had an advocacy. Literally, they prefer China to the United States. These are not conspiracy theories. There's an article where they say the Chinese model is better, where the Chinese government controls the internet. They are also wildly pro-abortion, not just pro-choice, pro-abortion. They like some abortions. They were lamenting that ultrasound technology is leading to fewer abortions. They were upset about that. I understand if you want to have some limited abortion rights. That's not for me. I get that. I don't get the people who are actually pro-abortion advocates, which is what The Atlantic is. But that's the most innocent of her publications. She's also got something called Now This. Now This is this viral millennial news site that makes heroes out of people like Stacey Abrams, and it's all designed to be more pugilistic, more pugnacious, and designed to push forward to people my age and younger Democrat talking points. She also owns ProPublica, and she owns, or at least is a major investor in these places, Mother Jones. These are openly left-wing places. You've seen those. They do some good work, but they're advocates. They do advocacy. But the most repugnant thing she's got is this thing called Acronym, where she invests in this thing called Acronym, which funnels the money into this thing called Courier Newsroom. Courier Newsroom is one of the worst things going in American journalism. It is laundering Democrat propaganda into local news. So you might be on Facebook surfing around, seeing something that looks like a local news story or an item on local news, and it's from the Courier Newsroom. The Courier Newsroom is literally fake news, funded by Laurene Powell Jobs to put out Democrat propaganda. And I go through it. She's got other publications too, like Axios, it's another big one that she's got. All of these outlets seem to be working in tandem. And maybe she's up there doing a puppet master thing, but more likely they've all basically gotten their marching orders. Here are the heroes, here are the villains. Point your guns this way, don't point them that way. And that's kind of how it is. You notice this pattern. It's a festival of woke if you go from a publication to publication. It's all the same heroes. They're all Kamala Harris and Stacey Abrams. And it's all the same villains, which is anyone associated with Trump's America. And no one knows that these are all connected. No one has pointed out it's all connected with this lady who inherited a bunch of money, is making money to this day with her stock. I think she's the biggest one of the biggest shareholders, like top 2 of Apple and Disney. I mean, this is a hugely wealthy individual. And her money will be infinite. And she's spending all that money to elevate people like Kamala Harris. Here's the last point on it. The Atlantic barely stopped short of endorsing Harris. I have some quotes of what they wrote about for Harris in the book, and it'll probably make you retch, but then when you're done retching, you'll laugh at it because it's so pathetic. I don't think Kamala got a single delegate. Did she get any delegates in the primary?
No.
She ran for 10 months. She looks like she should be president. She's poised. She is a background where she seems like she'd be qualified. Why is she so unpopular? Well, no one likes her. But who does like her? people like Laurene Powell Jobs, people who are the Democrat establishment with the funding mechanism of the Democrat apparatus. And do you think it's a coincidence that someone with no delegates got on the ticket? I don't think so. I think she's a donor class a darling. And all of these dots make it seem like this lady, Laurene Powell Jobs, to me, she is doing as much damage as Soros is doing. And yet, probably all but a few of you knew her name at all to this point. So it's definitely someone to watch, and I'm glad I could bring her to light.